Okay, today's devlog. It's been a bit since the Dreamscape winners were announced. We are going to continue working on our game though until it becomes what I originally envisioned. This complete game, anyways. It was not complete at submission. There was a few levels, but it lacked tutorial and it ran slow on a couple of people's computers. So the objectives for the next devlog are to bake some more lighting and try to save resources where I can, and also to include a very tutorial friendly level. But the demo, what I do have, I have mechanics down. I do not have as much game design. Just this quick scratch up of text to help guide the player. But the base of it is that you're able to command the entity to go to different places, and it's going to add it to different objectives and other things. As long as he is not being observed, he will enact them at the next available opportunity. So, we do the intended solution. We open the door, we have a dialogue with this guy, and we trick him to move forward into this room. We shut off the power, and he drops his phone on the ground for us to grab. Perfect. And then we open the door while the power is still running, because if we turn off the power, all electronics that we've hacked into, emergency shutdown, they lock down, so that's not a good way to do it. We want to open it up and then give our entity the command to move forward. And then once you're in the specified location, it allows you to go to the next level. This one right here is a drone watching through a glass wall, so you can't just run past him and blink and other things. You can EMP it though. I should change this from a light source to something else so it's a little more obvious, but you are allowed to go into here and you can see he finds like a key card in the cabinet. You can grab that, and then this blue sigil. Oh, excuse me. Over here, once you grab that key card, you are allowed to get into here. EMP it, have him walk over there. Oh, I had the volume off, but there is volume playing. You're allowed to get back here now that you have the key. You can destroy this guy if you want to. He's not watching behind him. And you can get out of here. As for the last level, we have our enemies right here that work by the same rules that our main character does. While they're not being observed by anybody, they will move. And these red dots sort of signify their locations for now until I get something more obvious. There are marks on the ground to show their general pathing, but the red dots are just for debugging and programming the exact positions they're supposed to be spawning at and rotating at. So the gimmick with this level is that you want Hazy to grab this key card, but if he moves into there and he tries to move away from that, you can only get him during a certain part of his patrol. Otherwise, he's going to get you. The big solution though is that if you EMP, you are allowed to move Hazy while you are watching this guy in the flashlight. So the second solution, although I might patch out just waiting for him to go to the right rotation, I'm not sure if I should keep that or not, is to lock him in place while you send in Hazy to grab something and move back, since he can move around as long as nobody's observing him. You can still command him while you're not watching him. So, you're allowed to get into here now, get his key card, and get out. And that's all we have for the starting demo. This place needs some work. I was going to have some cameras and rotations and other things, but I only got the rotation part done in time. Different lights and other things are supposed to light up the rooms in different ways. You're supposed to freeze a couple enemies in place with proper lighting and the drones watching them. It looks like a flashlight right now, that's because they ran out of time, so this didn't really get included in the demo. And this guy doesn't even move since he doesn't have the pathing up, so you can just grab the key card and leave. And then there's no more levels. So, that summarizes what we've done. We have some audio, just really basic audio in. We have our power off our enemies, our commands and everything working accordingly. We have lighting. I did spend the last day on the game jam learning a lot about the universal render pipeline. It gave me a lot of trouble, so I ended up actually importing this into a project that was just already fitted with 2D render pipeline. It was very difficult to transform a project that wasn't in the universal render pipeline into a universal render pipeline. It was brutal. But we've got lots of beautiful new scripts. We've got this was literally just something I needed to activate through a button, so I just made this crummy script last second so I could call this through. Well, actually, I think I called this through animation. I can't remember. I just needed the public set active false through something. We have the stalker script for the little enemies that are running around, the night vision camera, which I almost have. We have the circuits, so the idea that electronics are powered by different sources, and your hacker terminal can be one of those sources. So the idea is I should be able to get the power source script and attach that not just to the hacker, but to some like generator in world that our main character can flick on and off. We've got the just general quality of life scripts, things like swapping around sprites, so we don't have to actually make an animation object for them when they're just swapping between one sprite or another. And the observer script, which will work with the locations to see what is currently being observed. So all those red dots that I have for ease of use, I could set some observer to be watching that. In this case, the security guard is watching the whole map. But as soon as you kill him, he's no longer affecting any of those locations, so he's not a factor of them anymore. We have the hunt condition, which is just a quick way to say that an enemy is constantly going to be watching a position, and when somebody weaker than them comes along, they'll go for it and move into there, and that's what I can use for the guy at the third level, where he's supposed to kill our main character if he tries to grab the keycard without getting him frozen. We've got a couple of other conditions. We got checking for items, like checking for the key card so we can get past certain doors. And we've got the illumination script, which is going to work in combination with the observer script to basically say, hey, these are the locations that are lit right now. So our security guard goes in there and he checks, hey, I see him right now, but do I have light to see him? So both of those have to pass in order for Hazy to be frozen here, but he is not when we shut off the power for that. So that's the first level solution and a general encapsulation of how the game's going to go. Playing with your vision, playing with the information you have available, and guiding him out of containment. So today's marks, now that voting has ended and a couple days have passed, I'm going to start updating it with changing how the travelers work, because currently they all dump their stuff into a game manager, all their plans and other things, and then the game manager, whenever it has a chance, will execute and will go through all the plans. But for H loops, although I love them, they do not play nice if you try to change the list that you're iterating through as the program is executing. So let's say I have a plan that removes itself after it's done. This breaks. So I had to use some backwards tricks like making a new list, and then if I wanted to keep it, adding it to that list and then clearing it after the whole thing is over. And that's just really sloppy and kind of ugly. So I'm hoping that instead of having a game manager manage all of the plans when they should and should not fail and cycling them in, that I will be able to take the Traveler script instead. And that Traveler script is going to have a list of their plans to execute and look for opportunities for. And my only worry is that currently the game is only going to make this big update when you blink or when the hacker shuts the power off. But what if I have a generator that switches on or off? Or what if Hazy goes up to a flashlight to flick it off or something like that? So I think I want to have that creative freedom and level design to play with different opportunities. So I want to be able to make this independent of waiting for the game manager to look over every single case scenario. I'm going to rewrite the traveler code so they're all self-tracking, self-reporting. The only downside would be if there's a ton of travelers on the screen and all of them are checking all their conditions every frame for if they have an opportunity. That could get a bit laggy, but there's never that many travelers on the screen, and I'm thinking some early if cases can chuck it out. Like, oh, are you photosensitive and are you being observed right now? Okay, just don't do any more. So maybe some preliminary checks can help save on processing and throw out a lot of this stuff. And the second thing is that people are moving instantly, so I want to make them actually walk from location to location. Maybe make some footstep walking noises to indicate progress, or maybe even altogether, instead of these set commands and locations to go to, you can just click on the screen and he'll go to there. So there's no uh, extra worry about specific commands. But I do also like the specified positions because then I don't have to work on actual walls or collisions or anything. I can specify what are viable locations for. Uh, it might not be worth the effort if the goal of the game still remains the same. He has to be here or there, and in the right order. So it'll be something to think about if we get the time and resources for it. But for now, we're just going to rework how the locations work, how the observers work, to make them more self-sufficient and not dependent on a single static game manager class to tie everything together. And in terms of design, we're going to make a lot more friendly of a tutorial and then some dialogue here. Why you convince this guy to move into this room, and some background lore getting into this. I'm thinking first level starts off with some kind of training simulation, and you get the idea that he only moves when he's not observed, and that includes you, and that includes lighting and other things. So I think I'm going to put a door between him and you. Or I'll just put more dialogue on this first level to make it more apparent what's happening. So that is all of what I'm going to be working on. Hoping to make the terminal system, because I worked pretty hard on this. We have the resource management of the puzzle here, trying to distribute these two resources evenly amongst different monitors and terminals to hack. And we've got wonderful sprites from spookymicmellow to make these puzzles with, but I just wasn't able to squeeze it in time for the jam. So we're going to try to make that up now, and we're going to make more terminal heavy inputs. Make sure that when you look over here that they have a chance to move around and stuff as well, because you're not looking at them, you're looking at your terminal over here. And yeah, so I'm still pretty confident that we can do this pretty good, but I need to make this stuff easier to debug in the future, because I lost a lot of time on the second to last and last day trying to debug the security guard. And one of my buddies found a very funny bug where you could actually respawn him and he'd watch the entire room after you've killed him, and you only can try to kill him once. So he just respawns and stays that way. And my solution for now was, okay, I'll just pump out a quick update. The plan for this guy killing the security guard is permanent. Therefore, if he gets back up, he just gets killed again. And then that solved that problem. And it was very silly. It was very silly. Uh, and now the game is constantly checking every single time you blink or turn off the power. Hey, can I kill this guy? And then it checks. And then it re-kills him if he respawns. And that's a very dumb solution, and we can work on that. So, yeah, that's how we're going right now. The game did work this time without bugging out or anything. I'm pretty happy with that. Audio came through and all that other stuff. I did notice that the web browser was a bit quiet, so I should probably put in some audio controls as well. And I'll see you guys next devlog. Thank you for listening.